In today's video, we're going to talk about some of the methods that array has in JavaScript. There will be three methods that we'll be talking about in this video. The one is map, filter, and reduce. And I'm going to explain you each of these one by one. Okay, so we'll see we'll see and try to understand this through an example. First of all, I'll explain you without how you could solve a problem without using this and how it can help you to make your code more readable and concise. Okay, so that's what we are going to use. So let's start without wasting your time. We are going to start with a map, but first of all, let me show you what. Let me tell you what map is. So map is it's one of the Java's arrays method that allows you to basically map through each element. Okay, so let's say you have a list of numbers. Okay, so in that case, what you can do, uh, let's say you have a list of numbers. Let me just print this out first of all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so we have a list of, not a list, basically a array of numbers. Okay, so let's say here I want to double each of these items. Okay, I want an array where each of these items should be doubled, okay, at their own place. So one way to do this is by I will declare a new element, let's say double array or something like that, and I would set this to empty array. And after that, what I'll do, I will simply run a for loop on this numbers, and this for loop basically accepts a callback where at each iteration you will get an item, whatever the item will be. And what you will do, you will simply push that inside or the newly created array that you have assigned to double array thing. Okay, so you will simply push this item inside this, I multiply by 2. Okay, so sorry, I forgot to add this push method. And now after that, if you would print this like a console.log double array, then you will see that now we have an array where each of these items is sort of doubled. Okay, so that's how you can basically map through each element. Similarly, we have something called map that can make it more, not more easy, but like more concise, to be honest. So let's try to understand how that works. So let me do the same thing, like double array, but instead of initializing it to like an empty array and then pushing it, each item after modification, what we will do, we will simply take numbers and we will use the map method here. This map method also takes a callback function where at each iteration you get an element. Okay, here I'm using like an arrow function. At each iteration there will be an item I, which is like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and all you need to do is you have to return like what kind of modification you want with that element. Okay, so let's say I want to double these elements, so I will simply return I multiplication 2. And if I would run this, let me just print this as well, console.log double array. If I print this, here you can see like as a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Similarly, you can do anything with this number. You can modify it to any point, however you feel like. I can also do it the roll number, which doesn't make any sense, but just to showcase how it works, let me show you. Roll number equal to I. Okay, let me just return this one. This is an object. If I'll return that instead of this, then you will see we have a roll number. We have an array of this object where there's roll number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's how you can use map method, and it's much clearer than like the way you did before. You can also simplify this. Let me just remove these brackets because we are just returning. You just have to return like how you want that element to be. like after modification, how you want to modify this element, that element. So if the modification is not that too complicated, then you can just put it inside, single bracket. It simply means it should return this. Okay, so now if I run this, here you can see this. So yeah, so that's how you can use map method. Okay, so now let's talk about filter. A filter is a way to filter out the items from this array. Okay, so one way to do this is like, let's say you want to filter out like all the odd items that are available in this. Okay, so one way to do this is like same as old, like you will for each, and at each iteration you will simply check whether the item is odd or even. Okay, so if it's an odd, then you will filter out, basically you will not push it, and if it's not an odd number, then you will simply push it inside your newly created array. So let me just do it like this: even numbers, and set it to empty array. And now at each iteration, what I'll do, I will simply check whether this I is divisible by 2 or not. If it's divisible by 2, which means it's an even number, and we will simply push that inside this even numbers. Okay, even numbers dot push I, the current item. And now after this, if I'll print this like console dot log, and then if I do this like even numbers, then you can see like now it has filtered out all the items that are that was odd, that was odd, and now we only have like even numbers in this list. Okay, so this is the one of the way to do this. There's another way, which is like using filter method, as it can make it more simpler. Let's see how we can do that. So let me just remove this. Okay, so instead of using and instead of initializing it and like an empty array and then pushing it after checking, what we can do here is like we can simply use the filter method. It also takes a callback function, but here the only thing you need to make sure is like it should return true or false. Okay, you can do anything with this number, but you have to make sure like it should return true or false. If it's true, then that item will be inside this new array, or else it will not be. So let's say if I do this like I modulus 2, if if it satisfies this condition, then it means true. Okay, so if this condition is met, then simply push that inside this array. If it's not met, then skip it. So now if I run this, then you can see it's still 246. And if I do this like if I change the condition here, then you will see now now these are odd numbers. So that's how you can use filter. You can here it is very simple example that I showed you, but like you can make it like you can do it like you can also apply it at complex things as well. Okay, so this is the filter method. Okay, so now last but not the least, let's talk about the reduce one. Okay, so reduce is one of the most important, not a most important, but like one of my favorite, because I use a lot. I use this particular method a lot. So what it does, let's say you want to sum every single item from this array, and you want to sum all of this up. Okay, so one way to do this, that like you will assign a variable with a 0. Okay, and you will simply run a loop on it, like numbers dot for each I, which is like a callback function. It also, and after that what you will do, you will simply plus into this one. Okay, with result plus equal to I. Okay, so what now it is doing, like it is adding each element into this result variable. Okay, at each iteration. So now after this, if I'll print this like console.log result, and then you will see now it's a 21. Okay, so this is the one way to do it, but there's a reduce method as well, which you can use. Let me show you how that works. So I can have like a let's result equal to, so instead of doing that entire process I can do, like I can use this, and I can use like a reduce method that array has. Okay, so it's an inbuilt method as well. So it also takes a callback function, but here in callback function there will be two main thing. It accepts two parameter, the accumulator, two arguments basically, accumulator and current item. Okay, so accumulator, you can think it as like an initial value that you will assign. Okay, so just like we did with like the let result equal to 0, so similarly you can assign accumulator value here, like the right after this callback function. You can set it to 0 if you want, like whatever you want to set the initial value. Okay, so you can set it here, and after that what you will do, at each iteration, just add uh, your current value in this accumulator, and at last return this accumulator. Okay, so at each iteration the accumulator value will be updated and you are returning it here. Okay, so now if I print this here, you will see that we are getting the same result, which is 21. So here I've assigned this to like a 0, but you can also do it like you can also assign like an empty array, empty object, whatever data type you are playing with. Okay, so that's how you can use reduce method. So these are the three main methods that you can use, and you can read more about these at MDN docs, where I like and where I get this topic. So yeah, that is for today's video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, then don't forget to hit the bell icon and subscribe this channel. I'll see you in the next video. For then, goodbye.